Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I'm just getting this feeling. It feels like something is missing. I don't know what it is, I can't exactly put my finger on it. Yeah, clearly you can sense the sarcasm. We have yet again another senseless tragedy, the brutal stabbing of Irina Zarutska, a young Ukrainian refugee who came here looking for safety, only to be killed brutally and senselessly on a Charlotte light rail train. And it's pretty much radio silence from the corporate media. Apparently they've got nothing to say. Absolutely nothing. Think about a mainstream news outlet if you would categorize it as a left-wing lamestream outlet, which is pretty much every single one of them, basically everybody but Fox News and the New York Post. Not a single one of them have covered this story. Nothing. Not a blip. Zero. Nada. And of course the question is why? Why would a story like this be ignored? And obviously the answer there is quite simple. Because it doesn't fit the narrative. And the truth in this case is very detrimental to the DNC, to the Democrat political brand image. And so once again we've got total media corruption on full display. And in this case it's not because of what they're saying, although to a certain extent it is. Wait till I show you guys this Axios nonsense. But it's more so an admission through omission. They're telling you all that you need to know by saying nothing, by doing nothing. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. Let me show you guys what's going on. We got some stuff to get into. So let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's first start off with this End Wokeness post that went absolutely mega viral, accumulating over 55 million impressions on X. This is referring to the stabbing of the Ukrainian girl. End Wokeness states that there was zero coverage from the Associated Press, PBS, New York Times, NPR, Wall Street Journal, BBC, CNN, Washington Post, Reuters, and MSNBC. And just for a second, think about how they pick and choose, right? Imagine if the races were reversed here. Imagine if it was a white guy that stabbed a black refugee in the neck on public transit. You would not stop hearing about it. Wall-to-wall coverage, day and night, 24/7 probably for months. It would instantly be declared a hate crime. They would probably be attributing it to Donald Trump and his rhetoric and the rise of white nationalism, and Joe Biden would probably be lecturing us about the threat to the homeland, that is, white supremacy, ultra MAGA violence. And yet when it happens the other way, it's complete silence. They totally bury it. They want it gone before anybody even notices. Not a single outlet wants to give it the time of day. Well, maybe that's not entirely true. One mainstream media outlet did eventually touch the story, and that was Axios. And here's where it gets even worse, because what did they do? Did they report the story with outrage? No, of course not. Did they highlight how Democrat policies and revolving door justice keeps putting career criminals back on the streets over and over again until he killed someone? Nope, absolutely not. Axios seems more worried, more interested, more focused on how MAGA is supposedly pushing their narrative using this story. The gruesome video of a fatal knife attack on Irina Zarutska on the light rail car in Charlotte is drawing attention from MAGA influencers seeking to elevate the issue of violent urban crime and accuse mainstream media of undercovering these shocking cases. First of all, we don't need to accuse mainstream media outlets of undercovering these shocking cases. They do, it's just a widely known fact, no accusation necessary. Secondly, what despicable, absolutely disgusting framing. Ooh, MAGA is taking advantage of this to push their political agenda and accuse us of not doing our job. You do not hate the mainstream media enough. They're basically accusing the right wing, MAGA, of politicizing this murder. Can you believe that? Well, obviously you can, because their instinct is always the same. Circle the wagons around Democrats and smear the right for pointing out the obvious truth. But now I gotta say the same thing again. That's not even the worst part. It gets even worse. You know, just the other day we were talking about how Democrats have been demanding and screaming for body cams over the last 10 to 15 years especially. We need more cameras, they told us. We need to hold the police accountable. We need video footage to prove all of our racial narratives, right? All the racial grievance narratives. But then what ended up happening after body cams became so widespread? Their racial grievance narrative completely collapsed, as all their martyrs, their victims of police brutality, turned out in most cases to be knife-wielding or gun-wielding psychopaths. And well, now I guess here we are again. This particular murder was caught on camera and we all saw the horrifying footage, and now suddenly Axios and Democrats seem to have an issue now with cameras. Again, because the cameras, the CCTV footage, the footage coming out, is collapsing their narrative in real time. This is part of the Axios article. The rising number of surveillance cameras in public spaces, including on Charlotte's light rail, has become a big accelerant in these cases. The video is easily shared or leaked and can instantly pollinate across social media, a visual counterpoint to statistics showing crime decreasing. Oh my lord! First of all, crime is not decreasing. A 1-year slight downturn from crime epidemic levels post-COVID is not crime decreasing. Secondly, again, focus on the cameras supposedly feeding right-wing narratives instead of another bloody murder at the hands of Democrat incompetence. They're more focused on the video not spreading online. And it's not just Axios that took that angle. The mayor of Charlotte herself basically said the exact same thing. Here's a quote from this absolute clown. "I want to thank our media partners and community members who have chosen not to repost or share the footage. I've been thinking hard about what safety really looks like in our city. I remain committed to doing all that we can to protect our residents and ensure that Charlotte is a place where everyone feels safe." And of course, she thought about public safety and then followed up by saying, "We can't arrest ourselves out of these problems," when very clearly you can. This guy was arrested 14 times. He should have never been let back on the streets. Had you arrested him, Irina would be alive. But again, she's more focused on thanking her media partners. By the way, that's kind of interesting, how these Democrat politicians view the media as their partners, but she thanks them for not posting the video. What kind of insane crap is that? Basically, they're saying the quiet part out loud. They want this thing buried in the Earth's frickin' core, never to be seen again. These people don't want you safe, they don't want you informed. They want you blind in the dark as chaos spreads. There's so many layers of dishonesty and even hypocrisy here. I mean, just think about this for an instance. We got all these journalists and all these left-wing activists who post all over social media with their Ukrainian flags in their names and in their bio. Ooh, Slava Ukraini. And yet here's a Ukrainian refugee who was murdered in cold blood thanks to Democrat policy, and it's total silence, not a damn word from any of these fools. And it's very evident, at the end of the day, these people don't care about Ukraine. They don't care about victims. They don't care about public safety. They only care about narratives. If the story helps Democrats, they'll run with it. Just like they did with Juicy Smollett and every other hoax victim. Don't even get me started on George Floyd. I mean, at least 6 months of endless coverage there. If it fits their racial grievance agenda, they'll never shut up about it. But in this case, with this Ukrainian refugee, a story that frankly is much more disturbing and outrageous than any of the BLM martyrs of the past, and it's radio silence. It's frankly disgusting. And obviously this is the game. It's selective outrage, selective coverage. Everything is political. Everything is narrative management. This is who they are. Liars, propagandists, activists masquerading as journalists. They'll turn the outrage machine on when it helps Democrats and they'll switch it off when it doesn't. They'll defend criminals and they'll attack anybody who demands law and order. The Democrats and their media allies don't want justice. They don't want accountability. They want control. And until people start calling them out relentlessly for this hypocrisy, frankly for this evil doing, how else can you describe it? They're going to keep doing it. It's absolutely shameful. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.